Hello and welcome to the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative podcast. My name is Rim. I'm an artist, a certified life coach and an NLP practitioner, and the creator of the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative retreats. Passionate about celebrating joy and beauty in the everyday, especially when things are falling apart. I'm insatiably curious about human nature, and I look into the world with reverence, awe, and a sense of wonder. Tune in for stories exploring healing through creativity, art, embracing sensitivity, and navigating the subconscious mind. I'll talk about the struggles that highly sensitive and creative people face, and share my experiences, insights, and favorite tools along the way. I'm here to empower you to turn what we often deem to be a curse into your biggest gift. I believe that the more we create together, the more we heal the world. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative podcast. I'm so happy and grateful for you tuning in. This is episode 15, and I will talk about how to stay regulated when life is a hot mess. And boy, how life can be a hot mess sometimes. As much as I would like to call life a long, flowy river, it's not really the case. It's messy, and it goes up, and it goes down, and it's topsy, and it's turvy. Just like the emotions of a highly sensitive person. It's painful at times, it's tiring, but it's also beautiful, it's intense, it shakes us to our core. I've been facing a lot of resistance with recording this podcast episode. I was trying to find a good angle, something interesting, something new to talk about. Felt like I'm actually getting bored with myself with talking about the move and challenges and struggle, but at the end of the day, this is the situation right now. It's actually not bad, but it just feels a bit heavy at times, especially now that I'm getting closer to the move date. Only 3 weeks left, and there's still so much to sort through, so much to organize, so much to do, and I've been feeling drowning. I feel like I know I will make it, but I can't wait to be done with that, really. And I thought, actually, if I'm going through this at the moment, I can talk about it. I got curious with myself and thought, why do I feel so much resistance talking about that? If I feel resistance, it probably means I need to lean into that direction instead of trying to escape it. And life is not perfect at all, so I don't need to be in a perfect situation in order to share and in order to talk. That's exactly why I wanted to do this podcast, to talk with you, my dear listeners, as if we were friends, having a coffee and a chat, something, talking about life stuff, like regular life stuff, not perfection. And that's what we do in life when we are friends and catching up. We just share about what's going on in our lives, whether it's messy or not, and usually it is, and we cheer each other up. So yeah, and I think that's something, I think it's the problem, not the problem, but the challenge is vulnerability. It's really hard. It's hard for HSP, it can be hard for many creatives. It's hard for me, it has been hard for me. So here am I practicing being vulnerable, practicing showing up imperfectly, practicing embracing being a hot mess or feeling like a hot mess, greeting the messiness of life and surfing along with all of it. I'm sure you've had thoughts like, when things are better, I will take care of myself. When I have more money, I will be able to do this and I will be able to do that. When I met the right person, I will do this, or I will feel this, I will feel better, I will feel more confident, I will feel more ready, all of those stuff. And I go through phases like that for sure. Like, how much I would love to be in a different situation right now, like not being packing, not being sorting things out. Like, I love traveling, I love adventure, but all the little bits behind the scenes, all the things that make the travel happen, it's much less sexy. And this time around especially, it's been a huge thing. I've been packing and sorting stuff and clearing for already over 3 months, and I'm not doing this alone. So I'm like, like I've been thinking, oh, once this is done, I will feel better. Once this is done, I will have more space. I will feel more blah, 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 blah. And actually, yeah, part of that is true because this is a specific situation. Like, it's not the kind of things we go through every year and all the time in our lives. It's like a big, big, big transition, and like a big, yeah, let's say a big opportunity to change, to make a big change. Like, I see it as a huge clean spring, mentally, physically, energetically, materially, all of that. But I think there are other moments in life where we go through phases like this. It can be when there's a death of a closed one, a divorce, a separation, a layoff, losing our jobs, like suddenly, a breakup, a health issue, big health issue, the birth of a child. And this can be really tough to navigate. It's like a lot of emotions, but it's not only the emotions, it's also all the things, like the practical things to do at the same time. Like, for me, like, for the past 2 weeks, like, I've been fantasizing. During my summer break, I was looking forward to, like, I enjoyed my summer break, but then I was like, oh, now it's time to go back to my regular routines. Like, I would be packing, I would be clearing, I would stop sorting stuff out, and I will do all my health and emotional well-being routines, like, going for a walk, going for the walk in the countryside, enjoying nature, or go swimming, like doing some sports, spending time for cooking, doing meditation, doing this, doing that, like doing some creating art, and taking time for those things, recording my podcast, being on social media, like interacting with my community, creating content. I love all of these things, like doing my work. But really, there are so many things coming up, like challenges and problematics that are coming up one after the other, and I need space in my brain, in my mind, to find solutions to these issues. And like, I need to, how can I say, like, because the time frame is very short, like I have a deadline, I can't postpone stuff. I need to, it's like I have to carry and hold my energy, take stock of it, like I feel like I have to dig into my strengths, my inner strengths and my physical strengths, so that I can go through all of those challenges. Because it's like, these challenges are on the safety level, like taking care of my safety, taking care of my security, everything related to home, to where are we going to stay, where are we going to live, are we going to have a shelter, is really important for as a human, for an animal as well, to feel safe. It's like one of the primary needs, same as, am I gonna have food, or am I gonna be safe emotionally speaking? If you go through a breakup, or if you get laid off at work, you lose your job, it can be really, really stressful, because the most important, at least that's what we think at the moment, is taking care of our primal needs, safety. So I was like, okay, there's no way I can do all of these routines, like all of these things that I usually do. I don't have space for that, because if I had been trying to push and force myself to do that kind of routine, that sexy routine, these routines, they feel very sexy on paper or on social media, and it's like an ideal version of who we would like to be or who we think we are, and we can be at times. But like now, for example, for me in my current situation, no way. If I insisted on doing this, it would be like banging my head on the wall and adding more pressure to myself. And the last thing a highly sensitive person needs is adding pressure. We already are very good to pressuring ourselves. Like I can say I'm a champion of pressuring myself. I talk about this often, but like how highly sensitive people can get easily stimulated and at the same time have an ability to live in our head and to imagine outcomes, good and bad outcomes, all kind of outcomes, and also a tendency to idealism and fantasizing, dreaming about alternative scenarios, alternative possibilities, which is amazing. Like, it's great, it's very creative. I think this is a source of huge creativity, but it can be frustrating when reality isn't following as fast as our imagination, because things take time to happen and it doesn't all depend on us. Like, like other people have a role as well, and they have free will. We cannot force people to say yes to everything we want or to do what we want. We cannot force administration to deliver us the papers when we want them. Of course, that would be amazing, but no. So, and also the way people react. So, actually, even in regular life, sometimes things can get really messy. It's not only when we're having intense changes like transitions. Sometimes it's just life is heavy, and it's really important for everyone, but especially highly sensitive people, to stay regulated. This is also something very important for me that I talk about a lot, is regulating the nervous system, because highly sensitive people, we have a more sensitive nervous system than other people. Much more sensitive, which means we can get overwhelmed much faster, and we can, like, our cup gets filled faster. It's not that we have less ability to experience stuff, like that we are fragile little flowers, not at all. It's just our cup will get filled faster because we notice more things. We feel everything more strongly. I just had a metaphor, and imagine in my head of two vacuum cleaners. One has a filter that has a lot of holes, like really airy, a very airy, like transparent filter, and another one that is not very well, like that doesn't have so many holes. And one, I'm not saying like both are good, both work well, but the one that has a lot of holes in its filter, it gets filled up faster. They both have the same capacity to hold dust. One gets filled faster because of the holes, because the filter is more open. So we have to empty it out more often than the other one. So imagine in a room that is very, very dusty. Like, there are a lot of things, pet hair, dust from pollen coming from outside, dust from fabrics, dust from whatever, papers and stuff, food crumbs, a lot of things. And the room needs to be cleaned within 3 days. Well, the one that has the filter with more holes, we need to take more break, like to empty it, put it back on, empty the dust, clean the filter, and so on. Whilst the other one, we will need to empty it less often, and it could keep more dust within its container. At the end of the 3 days, they would both have cleaned the room, and the room would be clean and neat. But imagine if the one that has the filter with more holes, like if you don't take regular breaks, or if you don't pay attention to its system, to its power, it will get overloaded and it won't be able to clean anymore. So I see. Okay, it's maybe a little bit of a weird image, but that's what came up. So I think, yeah, I personally, I feel I can relate to it. I would need, like, I need this, I need to take care of my filter. I need to clean it regularly, and I need to make sure it doesn't overthrow the power, so that it doesn't overthrow me, so I can still have the strength and the power to clean the whole room. In these 3 days, let's say it's 3 days. And so, yeah, I say 3 days because I want to point out this notion of a short amount of time or a specific amount of time, because life is messy, but it's not always messy. There are some periods, sometimes, that are different, that are more challenging. So let's say we have these 3 days, and wouldn't it be weird if I spent like the whole time I clean the screen, the filter, I go and I clean the filter slowly, and I use a special bath or special soap, and I let it dry for a long time, and then I do some meditation around it so that it gets cleaned better, and I purify it with different baths, and I let it rest, and all of that. It doesn't make sense, like, because I have only 3 days. I can just clean it, dust it a little bit, shake it, and poof, put it back, and keep cleaning, keep vacuuming. So, like, in the same way, when we're going through all of these life challenges, we don't have to do this huge routine. It defeats the purpose in this situation, and a little can goes a long way. Always, always, always. And I think it's really important not to put too much on ourselves and not to feel guilty about not doing things perfectly. We don't need to wait until the perfect moment. We don't need to be done with these challenges before we can feel some amount of satisfaction with ourselves, some amount of moving the needle, like getting things done, like taking care of ourselves, and still having a little bit of space for our needs and for our creativity. It's not like we can't be creative, actually. It's really hard to tap into that power, that creative power, that creative source, creative energy within us, if we don't take care of it a little bit. But we don't need to overdo it. Sometimes just a little bit is enough. And taking care of our needs means, for HSPs, regulating the nervous system so we don't go into fight or flight mode, so that we feel safe. Feeling safe is really important, it's the most important, in order to be creative, in order to keep going, in order to have power, and not to feel like a victim of life, not to feel like a victim of this mess, or this messy situations, not feeling victim of other people's reaction, of what happens to us. Like, it's to help us feeling empowered and not victim. And that's so important, to gather energy. So, for example, for me, what I've been doing for the past few weeks to regulate my nervous system, like, I dropped my ideal of making it perfect and doing it well and doing all of those things. So for now, I've been really making it very simple. So one thing I've been doing every night is sleeping with essential oils that I put in a diffuser on my bedside table, so that at least every night this helps me to soothe and to relax, and I sleep with this nice, like, sleeping with this nice little smell feels very luxurious and comfortable and pleasurable. It's a small pleasure that I can give myself these days, so I'm doing it. I've been mixing some different oils, and that also satisfies my need and my love for mixing stuff and personalizing the things I do, or the things I eat, or it's like the way I cook, or the way I dress, the way I like to decorate my home, like everything related to my personal life. I love to mix things up, like creating my own little recipe. I've been using a mix of oils that are good for breathing, because of the summer pollen, and also stress and anxiety. For me, it shows in my chest a lot, chest and throat, so it's related to breathing. It's a mix of eucalyptus, it's hard to say, eucalyptus oil, peppermint oil, laurel leaf, lemon oil, cardamom oil, lavender oil, and another one, I can't find the name anymore. It got erased from the label, but it's something for stress. I will look up for it and put it in the show notes. This is a plant with a weird name that is good for to calm down. So this has been really pleasurable and helping me to calm. Another way to regulate myself was cuddling my cats on regular basis throughout the day. They love packing. Like since I've had them, I moved a few times already, so they're used to me packing and moving stuff around, and they are very curious. So they always jump around and jump on the boxes, also sleep on the boxes, and it's been great having them around and cuddling them, petting them. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's a few minutes here and there, but doing this all day long is an amazing way. It's like co-regulating with another kind heart, really. Very soothing. Also playing with them. Like if you have a pet and it's a pet who loves playing, that's amazing. My cats, cats, I mean, I don't think cats are that playful compared to dogs, but one of them, she has a bit of a dog spirit. She loves to jump in the shower and drink from the shower head. It's really cute, and so yeah, it's like it helped me, like spending time doing this. It's just a few minutes, but it helps me to stay present in the moment and take my mind away from all of the problems, from all of the things to deal with. And it's like being here, being with another being, playing, smiling, like really, and connecting. It's very, very soothing. Another way I've been regulating my nervous system is indulging in healthy doses of comfort food. So that might feel strange because usually we say, oh, you have to eat healthy, it's really important. Comfort food is bad, is a way to kind of maybe it's a way to numb your emotions. But yes, it's true if it's systematic all the time, but when the vacuum needs to clean in 3 days and the filter is filtering a lot, like it's absorbing a lot, I mean, well, it needs a lot of good oil to keep it going. And for me, comfort food, well, I don't know if it's because I'm a Taurus, but I don't think so. Eating good food that I love, especially childhood food, helps me to soothe and to feel good. It's not the moment to eat perfectly. It's not the moment to think about my silhouette, let's say. It doesn't matter if I put on a little bit of weight. I think actually it helps me to, in this moment in life, I think it helps me to anchor, to ground, and to gather the strength I need to go through this moment. And also I can trust that later I can shed this excess of weight, and I will always eat a bit of comfort food because I think it's important. But I'll have time, I'll have space in my mind to take care of this later. Making sure I sleep at least 8 hours a day, like not negotiating my sleep, it's also been helping me. If I go to bed late, then I will sleep in the morning. Like I'm trying to really rest and repair at night. It helps to regulate. And then finally, I have three more things I do. Watching movies and series at night helps me to relax and laugh. And like I'm so I'm so tired, like I'm so drained by the end of the day. I have no energy for anything else these days, and allowing myself to just indulge in it's easy and it's relaxing. So welcome. Talking to my inner child and tending to my heart's needs, also it's something that you can do very fast. It takes just 1 or 2 minutes, sometimes even less. I put my hand in my heart and I reassure my inner child that everything is fine, that she's safe. I talk to my heart, especially in those moments where I feel the anxiety rising up and getting strong. And that helps me to sustain my energy throughout the day and throughout the week. And finally, One other thing I do is reading about astrology. I've been reading a lot about astrology in my chart lately because it's a way for me to satisfy my need for learning and growth. Like these days, I don't have time to study, to read a lot. So, yeah, of course, I'm listening to podcasts while I'm packing, but after a while, I get overloaded. So, I'm trying not to listen too much to stuff. Actually, silence is also important to regulate. So I could add this as a bonus trick. Spend time in silence. But yeah, coming back to astrology, I find it really soothing. It provides me a sense of safety, like in a healthy way, because it's not dangerous to my health to read about astrology, and it helped me strengthen my understanding of the world and events and like what's happening. It helps me to stay empowered versus falling in the victim mode or spinning down in guilt and shame, because that could happen, like as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, like when things happen and we're not in control of everything, like we don't know, there's stuff coming up, like life, and it's easy to fall into the victim mode. I read and I hear, and many HSP clients tell me, oh, they made me feel like this, or they did this, they did that. Nobody understands me. It's not fair. Why is this happening to me? And I get that. That's totally human to feel like this. And it's okay to feel like that, actually, but it's important not to linger into into these thoughts, because this can really send us into overthinking and sadness and feeling disempowered. And when you're disempowered, it's hard to find creative solutions to your problems, and it can really easily send us into despair. That's like a really like yucky energy. So for me lately, astrology has been providing me with the support. But anything else could work. Anything that works for you, that makes sense to you, and that helps you to provide a sense of safety, and that helps you to feel empowered and not like spiral into guilt or shame, is great. Anything that works for you, like feel free to do that. One last thing I'm thinking about right now is like there were some days like I had to go to another city to do some paperwork, and what I've been doing is making a day out of it. It's not that far, it's like 45 minutes, 1 hour drive, but still far enough that I don't want to do it's not something I do every day. So when I have to do it, I go and do my stuff, and then after I take the time walking around the city, exploring it a bit, treating myself to a nice meal, or a trip to to a nice bakery, and this kind of stuff. So at least I don't feel like I'm becoming the slave to paperwork and challenges and stuff. Like I'm also carving out some time for exploration and treating myself to more pleasant things. And all of these things that I've just talked about really help to calm the overwhelm and to make me feel more at peace and less stressed, and feel more trusted that everything is going to be okay and that I can handle anything. That I know I have creativity and resourcefulness that I can tap into when needed, and that there is always a solution. And you also have this ability, my friend. If you've been feeling really overwhelmed, drowning, like as if life was happening to you and it's tough and challenging, I totally see you. I can really understand what you're going through. It's just a moment in time, and you don't need to feel bad, and you don't need to do the whole lot of things to get better. Yes, there will be time for more, but for now, just a little goes a long way, and it will help you. Like doing these little things every day will help you to go through this time with more ease, with more grace, with more openness. And if you're going through such a time and you feel it very challenging and would like some support or to talk about it, don't hesitate to reach out on Instagram or by email. I've put the link on the show notes, and I'll be happy to chat with you and see how I can support you through these times. And finally, if this sparks interest in you and you think you would love more support, more in-depth support with dealing with overwhelm and dealing with your emotions, like navigating transitions, you are welcome to join me and other fellow sensitive and creative souls on a wonderful retreat next June. It will be June 24, and it's gonna be in Provence in the south of France, which is a beautiful region, very special place that has inspired a lot of painters. It has a very regenerative vibe to it, and it's gonna be a retreat all about connecting to our senses as an HSP and how to become a friend with them, how to make them a source of well-being and fulfillment rather than feeling it's a curse. If you are interested, you're welcome also to reach out if you have some questions about it. You can book discovery call where I'll answer all questions about the retreat, or you can sign directly via the website. I will put the link in the show notes. That's it for today. I hope it was inspiring for you, and I wish you a beautiful end of week and see you next week. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye. Sending you lots of love. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if it has inspired you, please share it around you. Also, if you feel called to it, please subscribe to the podcast and leave me a review. It really helps to spread the word out. All your questions are welcome. You can send them to me on Instagram at rim.creativenergy.com or email me via my website rimcreativenergy.com, and don't worry, I'll share in the show notes exactly where to find me. Until next time, sending you loving creative energy.